On the Couch with Koel.
This is the first time that we're filming an episode of On the Couch with Koel in front of a live audience. And could I have asked for a more distinguished audience? Thank you all of you for being here and making me really nervous. Written in bold letters outside the entrance to his door is the sign, "Please do not ring the bell unless you are expected." This is the acid wit of the renowned writer, Mr. Khushwant Singh. And if you happen to know the man and his tongue, you'll know that he means it. Even at the age of 94, he continues in his controversial commentary to prick the powerful with his pointed pen. Sat Sri Akal, Khushwant ji, I am really very honored to have you on the couch with me today. Thank you. So, what is the worst thing you've ever done to someone who's rung that bell and is not expected?
Well, I slammed the door in his face. I don't, anyhow, I've told my servant to do it. He asked him, "Angrezi jante ho ke nahi?" If he knows, he gets out to the board. And if the fellow still insists, I just have to be as rude as I can. At my age, I can afford to be cranky and rude, and I am.
You were rude long before this age. Let's not hide behind this age. Who is the most obnoxious person who's rung that bell?
Well, I can't name them here. There've been quite a few.
Are they in this audience?
No, it's usually foreigners who think that these rules don't apply to them. They only apply to Indians. And I put them in their place. They send a note saying, "I've come from Chicago, I've come from Tokyo, I come from here, and I just want to say hello." So I send a note back and say, "Just ring up before you come." And that's it. It's no problem.
And in these 94 years, who is the most remarkable person to have rung your bell?
Well, there have been a few, well, I don't know, remarkable. The ex-president, Abdul Kalam, he was one of the people I never expected. He never deigned to come and call on a nondescript pen pusher.
Oh,
but
please.
He did, and the whole mohalla knew because of the police and whatnot, and I didn't know what it was for. And he never told me. He sat there with me nearly half an hour, and we exchanged, and I asked him silly questions like, "How many hours do you sleep?" And he said, 5. And I said, "Are you religious?" He said, "Yes." And I said, "Why are you religious? You're been a scientist." Then we had a little argument on that subject, and that was it, because I'm not, as you know.
Well, it's one of the first things you said to me as I walked into your house for the first time, and I was expected, so just to make that point clear. The first thing you said to me was that I am an agnostic, and yet you have never abandoned the symbols of Sikhism. Why?
Well, I have a sense of belonging. I am a Sikh. I was born a Sikh. I'm not a praying Sikh. I'm not a Gurdwara going Sikh. And I deny the basics of all religions, including mine. The belief in God. They tell me God is the creator. So I simply say, if He is the creator, who created Him? No answer. God is almighty. I said, He may be. He is also kind, beneficial, compassionate, just. I said, not an iota of proof to any of those statements. Look at all the corrupt who prosper. Look at all the good people who suffer. Look at what happened, the corruption in this country. The corrupt are the most religious, you'll notice if you carefully look. And then he destroys people. You have earthquakes, you have tsunamis, all good people, bad people, Hindu, Christian, Muslim, Sikh, all go. Children, old people. Where is the justice? Why do we go on persisting in creating legends about somebody we don't know? We don't know anything about where we come from, what will happen to us when we die, then why make these legends? Why not be honest and say, I'm sorry, I don't know. And what is more, nobody knows.
But I think that it's almost a dichotomy. You say this, and I take you for what, your word or what you're saying, but at the same time, you have made some of the most excellent translations of Sikh religious texts. You have stood by the religion many times. You have fought for it. You even returned your Padma Bhushan when the Golden Temple was attacked. So isn't this a dichotomy?
Well, I'm so involved that when I was the only, I repeat, only Sikh who criticized Bhindranwale as an evil man, because preaching hatred. And I was on a hit list for 10 years or more with police escort to guard me. But I felt that Mrs. Gandhi had made a fatal miscalculation in sending the army into the Golden Temple. Somebody had totally ill-advised her. At that time, when Bhindranwale was on the rampage, not one Sikh leader, Congress or Akali, had the nerve to stand up and say, please stop saying all these things. And that created the bad blood against the Sikhs in Delhi. And we know what happened when Mrs. Gandhi was assassinated. My thesis has been proved right down the line.
So you see, you identify yourself as a Sikh,
yes,
and that is why you've held on to the symbols. Now tell me something, that has your beard and turban proved to be a magnet or a deterrent when it comes to especially picking up women, let's say, in Europe?
Women?
Yes.
No, not at all. It had nothing to do. People have the impression that when I went abroad, I thought with a beard and turban, no mame would come near me. But it turned to be just the other way around. It is the other Indians who found it difficult. They thought I was the real Indian. So I had it hands down.
So it was definitely a magnet.
It worked. And what is more, despite what I say, the Sikhs listen to me. Because they know, they said, as he bolda कि मैं नहीं करता मैं मंदा नहीं किसी ਨੂੰ, but actually he is a believer. And that's why when I say anything, they listen to me. And it has worked. I've opposed the demand for the Khalistan strongly. And I think I'm instrumental in turning the majority of the educated Sikh community against that demand.
Well, let's leave your politics for a second, and let's move to another thing that you have said, that you were obsessed with sex at the age of 13. Did this obsession wane, or did it accelerate?
I'm just an honest man. Everyone is obsessed with sex. Just everyone. If they say they are not, they're lying. It's there from the time you were born to the time you die. You get married, you make these human laws about monogamous marriage. I don't know a single married couple, and I'm swearing I don't know one, which I describe as really happily married, whose mind has never gone to having extramarital affairs. Whether they have them or not, I don't know. If they have the courage, they would. They haven't the courage.
Did you have the courage?
I'm not going to answer that. Yes.
Oh my God, that's a confession.
Okay, I'm not going into details.
I think that's okay. We don't want the details. And for those who do, please. Now, do you relish or do you want to relinquish the title of the dirty old man?
I don't mind people call me a dirty old man. I always dismiss it because I don't bathe every day. Perhaps they refer to that. I think that's another Indian fetish of having a bath every day. Every third day is good enough for me. Or when I was in England, once a week was good enough for me.
I hope this is the third day that you're sitting on the couch.
I had one today.
Oh, hallelujah.
You wet a damp towel and run it on your body, you're more clean than putting a lot of lota of water on you. Nothing, you have to keep clean. You don't have to make a song and dance about it. This is very Indian about Islam. It's something sacred. You dip in the dirty water of a river, you are cleansed.
Yeah, let's not go into daily cleansing habits. You're 94 years old. You have talked about having failing health and a number of ailments that we've been hearing about at least for 15 years now.
Yeah.
Some of them I think are imaginary. Most of them might be real. But you still have one of the most super sharp minds, you know, and your unbeaten and bold spirit. I'd like to go through your daily routine just to understand the secret of your longevity.
Well, I lead a very disciplined life. I get up very early, get up certainly 4, if not even earlier at times. I'm not religious, so I don't waste any time on prayer. I get down to work. I have my mug of tea or ginseng tea, which I like, and then I get down to reading or writing, and I'm very fond of reading poetry, or mainly Urdu. And somehow everything else about me is rotted, my inside and hearing and vision. But the memory is still there, and I can recite poetry by the hour.
Oh, please, please, can you recite something right now?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Once you let start on me, I will bore the entire audience. But the latest that I picked up and is stuck in my mind is about a broken love affair. उसने कहा सुन, अहद निभाने की खातिर मत आना. अहद निभाना, to keep up a promise. उसने कहा सुन, अहद निभाने की खातिर मत आना. अहद निभाने वाले अक्सर मजबूरी या महजूरी की थकन से लौटा करते हैं. तुम जाओ और दरिया दरिया प्यास बुझाओ. जिस आँख में उतरो, जिस दिल में डूबो, मेरी जलन आवाज़ न देगी. लेकिन जब मेरी चाहत और मेरी ख्वाहिश की लौ इतनी तेज़ और इतनी ऊंची हो जाए, जब दिल रो दे, तब लौट आना. This is Ahmed Kharaz.
Now, I know some of you here have fought very hard to be invited to this event. Such is the lure of Mr. Khushwant Singh's sharp tongue. And yes, all pun intended. You know, this breed of journalists who can recite verbatim, you know, quote poets, can recite poetry, can quote writers, who have in-depth knowledge about cultures across the world, who fight for the things that they believe in, they have informed opinion. This breed of journalist is slowly becoming extinct. Do you think so?
It really wasn't there. Journalists are only, they're only interested in gossip, political gossip, quoting politicians' speeches and who's on whose side. We don't even study our politics. There's much deeper issues involved. There's hardly anything readable in them. All the daily papers, all the supplements are just full of girly pictures. Those old Bollywood or fancy fashion designers, their models, who is going or getting on with whom. I know the names of film stars. I never go to a film, see films. But I know their names and I know what they look like because I can't avoid looking at the newspapers. That's not journalism as I knew it. And editors don't matter anymore. My time they did. He was the boss of the paper. Now it's the business manager, the owner. They dictate the policy of the paper. And the editor is, you don't even know the names of many of the editors. You asked me today, who's the editor of the Times of India or the Hindustan Times? I don't know.
So do you think that media is therefore then catering to the lowest common denominator?
Well, they must rate the lowest common denominator very low. If all they think is that these pretty half-clad girls is what their readers are interested in.
What is your preferred medium to keep up with current affairs?
Well, I watch TV for a while.
Do you use the net, internet at all?
No, I can't manage any gadgets of any kind. I'm too dated now, passé, as the French say. I only watch TV for about 10 minutes at the most, because I can't hear very well. I keep on, switch off the hearing and just watch the pictures and the print. And I get the idea of what's going on in the world.
Now, you have never written flowery obituaries for anyone, not even for Mrs. Benazir Bhutto. Do you not feel that the dead should be spared your cruel pen?
I don't believe in this legend about don't speak evil of the dead. They don't become saints the day they die. They were rascals. You can leave it to the family to put all the praises in the obituary columns, but that's not honest. You do a profile, you do an honest job. If he was a rascal, say he was a rascal, he was a lovable rascal, or not a lovable rascal. I have never spared, and I hope when I go, people don't spare me. If they think I'm a dirty old man, let them say so.
Who do you think will write your cruelest obituary?
Cruelest?
Yeah. And what will it say?
Well, I have no idea, but there'll be quite a few people who loathe my guts. So if they are asked to, they'll settle their scores when I can't hit back.
Are you honest just for the sake of effect and for sensationalism, or are you genuinely
honest?
It's
so easy to be honest. It's so difficult to be cunning and tell lies. Because you tell one lie, you have to follow it by another and another. You be honest, make a fool of yourself, it doesn't matter. But I strictly believe in the Shakespearean, to this above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night the day, that then thou shalt not be false to any man. And that is simple.
It says it all. You were born, educated, and you even worked in what today is known as Pakistan. What feelings, if at all, do you have for that country now?
I have very warm feelings. I don't think they were responsible for the partition any more than we were. This is one of the historical phases. I think inevitably the country had to be partitioned, because the Hindus and Muslims really never integrated. At no time in my recollection was there a mixing between the two communities which you could say was, let's say, like the Sikh and the Hindu. They are integrated, they intermarry with the Muslims. You were on friendly terms, but you never really integrated. That's why the last election before independence, the entire Muslim middle class voted for partition. That's the Muslim League, because they felt uneasy in an India with a Hindu majority. I supported the demand. If they wanted to be separate, they had every right. I thought be another province, which would be a Muslim majority province. And I think so did Jinnah and so did Nehru. They never realized the horrendous way the partition would take place. And I was there till the second week of August, and had intended to return to Lahore because that was my home at that time. But as the events turned out, 1 million people slaughtered, 10 million people uprooted. Even Mr. Jinnah wanted to live in Bombay after he had wanted Pakistan and got it. He didn't realize he'd never be able to come back. Nehru gave us assurances that once the partition took place, there'll be total peace in this country. He was wrong. This was a historical movement which had to end in partition. I think it would be done in a more civilized manner. That it can still be more civilized if we allowed to cross each other's borders and meet each other without passports and visas and all. Because we are the same people, except they are Muslim largely and we are non-Muslim largely.
So in today's political climate, Would you consider planting an innocent kiss on a Pakistani woman like you did to the ambassador's daughter?
I do so even now. I mean, the one people I have never turned back from my door, despite the notice. If it says, I've come from Karachi, I've come from Lahore, I'm a Pakistani, I say, let him in. Because it's my watan, I was born there, in that area. I have no ill will against Pakistan whatsoever. And I wish Indians would get rid of whatever ill will they have in their mind. We get on much better, and there I know millions of Pakistanis who share my views. To me, there's absolutely no reason why our relations shouldn't be like those between Canada and the United States.
I would like at this moment for everyone to put your hands together for the dichotomous Mr. Khushwant Singh.
On the Couch with Koel.